Because another edition of this cup, and you get to be involved in this one, and very vocal as always, and we appreciate that. The opinion already counts a lot. What do you make of this edition of the knockout of the Culling Cup?
The Culling knockouts really gave us a lot. 39 goals that were scored last season, and this season they just improved with 1 goal. That shows you that with the teams wanting to score goals, because if you don't score, you don't get to win, you know. And you look at the Culling Cup, the system is the same, where the fans get to vote for the players, and what's intriguing for me is that it's the top 3 teams that are there: Orlando Pirates, Kaizer Chiefs and Mamelodi Sundowns, the Diski players, and also with the PSL players that are there, and the lineups have a variety of the players that are there as well, which makes it even more intriguing and interesting, because the levels are not the same as much, you know. But it's a cup game, it's a one-day tournament where you get to, you know, choose the best starting lineup as the fans, and then the subs that come in there then get to change the game in terms of the formations and all of that. And I think the fans are really taking us to the traditional way of playing football, because the lineup it's 4-4-2, which means they want to have the 2 strikers playing there. China would be in goals there. It means there's a Serino there, you know, there's a Mutusu Obas that is there in that midfield, there's a Kulise that is in that midfield as well. That shows you Rile will have you know, an opportunity to play with the older guys, senior guys, but he's playing at the same level as them. He brings that young flair, energy into the team. And you look at the defense as well. Mukoni, who was part of that team last season, the Culling Cup, the 11, Culling 11, he was part of that, and he comes through as well as one of the top voted players for. So that just shows you, Guti, the fans are in touch with the game, and that's what the Culling Black Label has done. It involves the fans, makes them part of this product, and fans that know the game want to see the best players playing in those positions as well.
Which players excite you the most, coach? Because there's been varying opinions from even the top 5 coaches about whether the DDC prepares the kids for top 5 football. Some say yes and no, some say yes. What is your opinion, especially now that this all-star team gives them an opportunity to test themselves against the senior figures of the Benjamin?
I think it's fair to have a yes and a no answer. Let me start with a no answer. A no answer would be because you're only seeing them once off in a cup final, compared to if it was all in the tournament from the last 16 to see these players compete there. Then you'll see them grow into the tournament and they're fast tracked in that level. And the yes part of it is because for you to know what a cup game looks like at senior level, this is it, and you get to play in a fully packed stadium where there's so much money that's in there, 100,000 for a player of the match, which can be voted by any fan. And normally in a GDC team, you can multiply how much that is for that player. And a big yes as well is to say that these players are exposed to playing in a big crowd that is going to be watching them, and the whole of South Africa and Africa has an opportunity to watch, because when you're showing it on SABC, you're showing it on other broadcast channels, it means the world gets to zoom in and see these players. So exposing players, it can be in small doses, but the most important thing is exposing these players to this level, and also get to be coached by first team coaches, because some of the players have never had that encounter with first team coaches where they get to be in the change room, hear what the coach says. Last season it was Coach Jose coming up with files, folders and all of that, and some of the players are shocked to say, imagine Mfundo is not signed at PSL yet, and he comes in and Coach Jose gives him a file to say, this is what you have to look at, this is a potential player that you'll be playing against and all of that, in a Stellenbosch team last season. And this season now they have to think and talk about a Magesi team that is there to say Magesi plays with the long ball. Sometimes they play it on the ground, they hit you on the counter. Now you are telling young players that are just used to playing normal football that is for their level. So it's going to be beautiful to see how they adapt. And also don't disappoint the fans, because they voted for you.
And I suppose it helps that the coaches then also take facility. You mentioned the Pirates coach, files, instead of just pitching there, saying it's a one-off game and not taking it seriously?
Remember, our South African football has different elements that make it quality, and the different tournaments, the others are just looking at the top 8. The others are looking at, where you see amateur teams getting to compete until they meet PSL teams, and this one allows just the 16 teams that are there, but it has an element of bringing these players in there. So that shows you, Uguti, these are the coaches that need to make sure that the quality football and product that is given to the world, it is not Mickey Mouse, because we are a South African team, a type of football that we want Africa to always see and say, South Africans are doing something incredible, they are evolving, they are showcasing players, they are showcasing different tournaments and competitions, because for us to keep the fans coming in, for us to continue watching, because football generates one of the most revenues. So you want to make sure you contribute to that as a coach that's coming in, and for those players that are coming in, because you bridge the gap. If this player competes and showcases their talent so well in the 11, that's how we saw Mfundo Vilakazi getting that contract into the senior team, because he came in and as a youngster and said, I'll take that free kick against a well-structured team with senior players in there. You are with a Dumeleng Kun and you're Mfundo Vilakazi coming with confidence. That already is bridging the gap for you.
Maybe just on something a bit different, just a reflection of Banyana. I don't know how much you've got to watch the matches because you're playing in the house and stuff, but we know the results. What I'm trying to get at is that our ladies tend to struggle when they play against different opposition, Europeans and Caribbeans. We do well on the continent, but when we get to that level, consistently we struggle. Isn't that maybe a little bit of a worry that we don't quite measure up against some of the better teams out there?
It shouldn't be a little bit of a worry. It should be a big worry for African women's football. And I'm saying this because all the 3 teams going to the previous World Cup, we came out of the round of 16 and that was it. We could not advance further. And Nigeria, who's ahead of everyone in the continent, still struggles to hit a semi-final, a quarter-final, a semi-final, even into a final. And as a Banyana team winning AFCON for the first time in 2022, the standard and the level has dropped a bit because we haven't had any other players coming through that have gone to play professional football, competing week in and out, like your Tembi Khatlana, Jermaine, the front 3 that we have there. Even have a goalkeeper that is playing internationally, because the level that we have of Hollywood Super League is not at the same level as what you will find in Morocco. Because Morocco is a full-on professional league. We still have a semi-professional. It also has amateur players that are coming in and competing there, which means the pool of players that you will find that are quality are a bit limited for the coach. However, it means that as a nation, we need to roll up our sleeves and say, what programs do we bring in to fast-track these players so that when they go into the national team, they complement the highest level of the other players that are in the Banyana team. Because we saw when we played against Denmark, we struggled because Tembi, Hilda, and all of the other players that are internationally were not there. When we played England, who's ranked number 2, then the complexion of the game changed. So imagine if you've got 9 other players that are playing professionally, week in and out, playing Champions League, playing Euros, and all of those things. It means the level of our football is going to go a bit higher. And why we dominate Africa so much is that we are a bit ahead of them, but certain countries, Morocco is catching up, Zambia is catching up, Nigeria has always led us, Ghana has come back into the competition of things, so which means that we need to step up, reshuffle, relook at our way of doing things and programs that we put in place to make sure that we fast track our players and bridge that gap for Coach Desiree to continuously select the best players ready mentally, emotionally, physically for that level of competition. Because the Jamaica we played last week wasn't the strongest Jamaica. We could have won that match, but the attitude of the players, the experience of the players was different. There's nothing the coach can do. If she has 2 days to prepare a team, it's not like Ufagu case, where you have players that are coming from a professional setup of things. They're training week in and out, playing competitive football. When they come in today, you just tell them 1, 2, 3, then they go. But there's some of them, you look at the fitness. When are we going into competition? Are we off-season, in-season? You look at all of those elements and they make our quality drop even more.